what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Good Things Take Time podcast. My name's Ethan.
My name's Elijah.
And so last time, we kind of talked about the Romans Road in our series, Walking in the Light. And basically, throughout this, 3-episode series, we're going to be talking about, what it means to be a Christian and basically the first steps of following Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And so this episode, we'll be talking about the 10 Commandments. And so basically, this kind of outlines kind of God's rules, as a Christian of, kind of what you should not do. And, over the course of, your walk with the Lord, it kind of just comes second nature.
Yep.
It's not like following a set of rules. And I think last time, either you or I said it, it was, God's not some killjoy that takes away the fun, but like this list that we're about to go through is basically, just being a good person almost. Like it shows some pretty self-explanatory things.
Yeah, it's like God gave it to the people to show them like how to live in community with others.
Yeah. So I guess we can just go ahead and start. And basically the very first one in, the book of Exodus 20 is where the 10 Commandments are. And it starts in verse 3, really. Verse 2 states, I am the Lord your God who brought you out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. And so then starting right in verse 3, it goes straight into basically kind of a bulleted list of the 10 Commandments. So the first one basically states, you shall have no other gods before me. So basically it's like putting God first in everything that you do. Not worshiping other gods. There is, one God. There's one God that created the heavens, the universe, the mountains, everything. And putting him first in everything that you do, not idolizing other things before him. It's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah,
It's not.
Yeah, for sure. It really is just like put God at the center of your life and like just trust him and like have faith in him because God has created this plan for all of us. And it's just to give it all to God and put nothing else above God and make him the center of your life.
Yeah. That's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, for sure. So the second commandment is in Exodus 20, verse 4. It says, you shall not make for yourselves an image in the form of anything in heaven above or on earth beneath or in the waters below. You shall not bow down to them or worship them, for I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, punishing the children for the sin of the parents to the third and fourth generation of those who hate me, but showing love to 1,000 generations of those who love me and keep my commandments. So this is kind of like Ethan said, it's like not having idols above God, and so like not worshiping something else. Because like something I wrote down, like the Israelites, when things got tough and bad things happened, they would worship false gods. And we were yeah, it said like they made idols out of gold and worship these things, and they did not worship the Lord. And like sometimes we idolize things like jobs or money, and like this is really just saying that what's most important in our lives is God, and that's what we need to kind of like what the first commandment said, is just him be the center of our lives.
One thing I've noticed is like in our time now is like celebrities. Celebrities are a big thing that I think we idolize. Some people even worship. I don't know if you're kind of like that, but I don't know. It's kind of crazy the extents that some people go to kind of put them over, God. But
yeah,
all in all, I mean, you do you.
that is true.
I don't, but
it is, but like it also the design says we are created to enjoy all these things like jobs, money, and like a good place to work and all this. Like we are made to enjoy these things, but when they become more important than following God, that's when they become an idol.
Yep.
So like you just have to find that balance between idolizing like your job, money, relationship over God.
Yeah. I mean, like we said, like these commandments are pretty self-explanatory. Like, it may look like intimidating just kind of looking at it, but like it really is it's pretty simple. I mean, but the third one starts in verse 7, and it goes, you shall not misuse the name of the Lord your God. For the Lord you will not hold anyone guiltless who misuses his name. So basically, keep God's name holy.
Yeah.
In the certain sense, like, we we have a problem saying like, oh my God, like saying like certain things like that just kind of, without even thinking about it. And, right there it kind of states, don't misuse his name, because it should be held at a higher standard than
Yeah.
just, saying, oh my God.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
cause he is he's our God, like he's the creator of the heaven and the earth, and like he loved us so much that he sent his son to die for us, and like using his name in vain is just like kind of like disrespectful to God, and like that's kind of like what he's saying. It's kind of like respect him more, cause like of everything he's done for us, and I just think it's just so amazing that like how just amazing God is, and like it's just that's all he's saying. Just keep his name not in vain.
Yeah. Um, yeah, there's a lot of references with each of these, kind of like in his in the praise and worship him only, the second commandment. If you go over where, however your Bible's laid out, there's a little excerpt called "Idols and Altars" or whatever your version is, and that's where, he got the Israelites, worshiping to, do not make any gods be alongside of me. Do not make yourselves gods of silver or gods of gold. And so there's a lot of cross references that you can obviously intertwine with this and get
Mhm.
more of a detailed, you know, understanding of what each commandment is. But I think the fourth one is a pretty good one that, I think most people do, anyways. But
Yeah. So the fourth commandment is in verse 8. It says, "Remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the seventh day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. On it you shall not do any work, neither you nor your son or daughter, nor your male or female servant, nor your animals, nor any foreigner resi- residing in your towns. For in the 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, the sea, and all that is in them. But he rested on the seventh day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy." So like this is really just saying like taking that, like a lot of us take our like the Sabbath day is like a Sunday for
yeah,
most like Christians and stuff. And like it really is just a day to rest and fully kind of like honor him in a way. And I think it's really cool how he also brought up how God also rested on the seventh day when creating the earth, because like saying like even God needed that rest too, and like
hmm
why shouldn't we like follow that, like the path that God set for us?
yeah. But like kind of adding on to that, but it's also not going on a day of just pure laziness. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Like still be productive,
Yeah.
but like not in a way of like where you're just literally in bed all day doing nothing. I think what um I know some people they like to just clean, like vacuum, go do anything, just somewhat productive,
Yeah.
but definitely a rest day for sure.
Yeah. For it's just a it's kind of like just like a set day to fully honor and like just dwell in God's glory.
Yeah. Um, that one is a very good one. I think that we kind of forget about because we have a lot going on through the week, and then Sunday comes, and especially for college students, we're like, you may have some like assignments due that night,
Yeah.
and so, you know, that's what, we don't really think about what Sunday is.
Yeah.
You know, we get kind of sidetracked, but that leads us into our fifth commandment. Starts in verse 12, and says, "Honor your father and your mother, so that you may live long in the land the Lord your God is giving you." So this one is honestly one that I really take to heart. Like, you know, I always have loved my parents and honored them, and so that's the thing. And we've had I think everyone has their
Hmm.
moments where they're like, oh, very frustrated with their parents.
Yeah.
But there's a fine line between being obedient and being disobedient. And really, yeah, you can. I mean, everyone argues in their family at one point, but like then there's a point of, hey, you do got to respect them
Yeah.
to a certain extent.
Yeah. No, for sure. Like it, like like God said, like just honor your father and mother. Like they really, like they created you, like
Yeah.
how God created humans. Your father and mother also created you, and like I think that is kind of like another respect thing, and like if like you love them so much that you obey them and that you should honor them because like they
Yeah.
are like above you.
hmm And I think, uh, over time, parents at the first start of like, you know, having a child or something, they may not know how to properly raise a child,
Yeah.
but over time, God shows them how to, and that's really where. you gain that, like, oh my gosh, I really really love my parents so much because of what they had to go through to raise me.
Mhm.
But it's just kind of crazy, you know.
So the next commandment is you shall not murder. And so I guess also pretty plain, it's like don't kill each other, but I also think it goes deeper than that. It also means like don't harm your neighbor or do things to hurt each other on purpose. And like, because God calls us to love your neighbor more than you love yourself. And I think this is just more important than you shall not murder, that some people also take for granted sometimes because they're like, well, God didn't say that.
Yeah.
But I think it's more deeper than you shall not murder.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. You never want to harm anybody to a certain extent, or just not anyways.
Hmm.
Never harm anybody. Always be loving and open and really, welcoming.
Yeah.
But kind of going into the next one, um, you shall not commit adultery. So, I think in the society that we live in, it's kind of maybe the society norm
Hmm.
to a certain extent. Um, but something that I've just put down is love the one you marry. Um, just very simple. Man, you chose that woman, you chose that man for a specific reason, and you love them. That's why you're getting married.
Hmm.
You shouldn't go off course on that and do cheat or do anything else.
Yeah, no, for sure. And like, it's I saw something that was like honoring that commitment means like you're that's where how you're honoring God is through
Yeah,
that commitment between
yeah,
marriage, and that you should only love that person in that type of way, and your that relationship with that person should be above any of your other relationships with another like neighbor or person like that.
absolutely. Um,
So the next one is uh, you shall not steal. So I like to think of these like, because when God was giving these, it was for like a community of people. And I always think like you shall not steal from your neighbor. And so it's like also like, yeah, you don't want to steal money and stuff, but also you don't want to steal like their ideas or like stuff that they own, or like you're trying to like cheat them out of a way because you want
yeah,
their like glory in a way. So I think but this one also is pretty simple. Like you shall just don't steal from each other and your
yeah,
neighbors.
yeah. I think you said it pretty well. I couldn't have said it any better. Um, the next one, or the second to last one, is you shall not give false testimony against your neighbor. So basically, tell the truth.
Hmm.
It kind of goes on with do not harm anybody in a way. Lying can cause a lot of harm. Uh, and telling the truth is always, it can be painful. It can be hard in some circumstances or situations, but overall, telling the truth will always be the best option for
Hmm.
you. Um, there's probably times when we've all had that choice of either to lie or tell the truth, and I bet that most of us would probably lie,
Hmm.
and it's something that we all got to work on. I really think so.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure. Like it's kind of thing like how you like we should always tell the truth because God always tells us the truth.
yeah,
That's just a way to think about it, because you don't want to lie to each other, because
absolutely,
it will only bring pain and suffering when you just
absolutely.
keep lying. So the last one commandment is shall not covet.
Yep, covet.
So this verse says, "You shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, or his male or female servant, his ox or donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor." So this kind of like I wrote down. It said, "Don't glorify or like want to be like your neighbor in this sort of way, and like you don't want to like compare yourself to
Yeah,
others, because like you can only compare yourself to God. But we have a tendency to focus on like material like objects like money and stuff, like, well,
yeah,
this guy has more money than me, like why can't I be like him? And like it's hard to stay like content with what we
yeah,
have. But God calls us to be content with who we are, because God has put us on this path for a reason. And
hmm,
it's just saying like not to kind of like get jealous over them,
yeah.
or kind of even idolize them in a way where you want to be them or act like them or have what they have.
Dang, look at you on a roll. But no, those are the Ten Commandments, and honestly, it's pretty self-explanatory. Really, there's a lot more in depth for
Yeah.
sure. But you know, for just a basic overview of what these are, that's pretty self-explanatory. Just
Yeah.
going back through them, it's, put God first, praise and worship Him only, keep God's name holy, keep the Lord's day special, obey your parents, do not harm anyone, love the one you marry, don't steal, tell the truth, and don't be jealous of what others have. Though these 10 commandments are just, man, it is set in stone. There's no, I bet there can be exception. It's
Mhm.
really not. It's kind of like that lukewarm Christianity. You can't be half in, half out. And you have anything else to add?
Yeah, I feel like if we all try to follow these commandments, and like I feel like that will help us, even just as a community, stick together and help us idolize God more and put Him, God, in the center, kind of like the commandments say, because they all tie together in a way. And I think it's just important that we all understand them and like what they mean and how to apply these to our lives.
Absolutely, absolutely. But I think that's all we had for this episode. Just basically, kind of laying out the foundation for this.
Hmm.
And I know that our last episode of the series will basically just contain about how to keep with the faith.
Hmm.
Not falling back into old habits. Basically, continuing your walk with God and not, falling off course.
Hmm.
But we appreciate y'all for listening in. If y'all are still here, hopefully. Uh, but you know what they say. Good things take time.